Pursuit started, and as you can see, the pursuit is continuing here, and now that driver appears to be going in and out, picking up speed and then slowing down and then picking up speed again and slowing down. And Rick, obviously you are very familiar with these pursuits too.
And more information coming in. When we say failure to yield, that means that CHP unit lit up this vehicle and they failed to pull over. And what the want was is no plates on that car. So they saw that this car was driving without a license plate. They lit that individual up. Unclear if there's anybody else in there. It's hard to tell. It looks like it's just the driver. It looks like that back window could be broken out or just rolled down at this point. But they lit him up. He failed to pull over, and the pursuit was on. That was, as you mentioned, Coco and Marla, at about 3:45 this afternoon on the 10 freeway in downtown LA. But now this pursuit has made its way well to the south, now on the 405 freeway northbound. You could see it top of the screen there with our extreme nav system near Western Avenue. This is taking the pursuit up through what we call the South Bay curve, where the 405 makes that curve or that bend from Long Beach, Carson, up towards LAX. We call this traffic pattern this week holiday light. It's not the typical pattern that you would see during the evening hours here in Southern California on a Wednesday. So you could see that the traffic very light at this point. You could see the CHP unit trailing this unit. Again, this car was lit up on the 10 freeway because it did not have at least a rear license plate on it.
All right, a couple of observations. As you pointed out, Rick, that back window seems to be broken out, as now we're zooming into one of the black and whites. It's hard to get a sense of how many black and whites are trailing this driver here. Initially, we were told that it was a black Volvo. Clearly, that's not the case. We're working on getting the make and model. Silver, it looks to be. Missing license plates, that was the want, as Rick pointed out. Holiday light, that is a good thing. But, Rick, I know we always talk about how to bring these pursuits to an end, and CHP was saying that they may try for a spike strip at one point, which could possibly work given this light holiday traffic pattern. But when we look, Rick, at the demeanor of this driver, he looks to be relatively relaxed.
Pretty casual. You're right. Good observation there, Marlo, Coco. Something in the right passenger seat there. It looks like some items in the back seat. It doesn't appear at this point that there's any other individuals. But this pursuit now, again, 405 freeway northbound, heading up through the South Bay curve, coming up from the Long Beach Carson area. First started in downtown LA on the 10 freeway. And looking up ahead, and I can see it on our real-time traffic system, 405 freeway is wide open up towards LAX. The roadways have dried out. The rain ended hours ago, so that is not a factor. Speed, really not a factor either. This individual keeping their speeds south of what is the speed limit for the most part. The spike strip, a possibility. It is difficult to conduct that move on a freeway like this, but they can. They want to end this peacefully. The speed threshold, again, for what we call the pit maneuver, the pursuit intervention technique, is typically around 35 miles an hour. So this vehicle, even though he's not really speeding, you could see that one individual in the carpool lane moving up very quickly ahead. As we widen out, there are at least two CHP units trailing this, likely a law enforcement helicopter as well. But again, they just want to bring this to a peaceful conclusion. 405 freeway northbound, heading up into the South Bay, through the South Bay curve towards LAX.
Yeah, and if you're just now tuning in, again, this was all started because the car there is missing license plates. And so the officers tried to pull this car over, pull the driver over. The driver just kept going, and that's when this pursuit started. It started downtown Los Angeles, and now you can see that it appears we're on the 405 in Inglewood. As Rick just mentioned, there are at least two CHP cruisers trailing this vehicle. Rick also brought up a lot of good points. The fact that we're in that holiday period right now, so there's not a lot of traffic on the roads. Yesterday we saw all of the rain, widespread showers. Of course, today we're not seeing that, so road conditions are a little clearer.
Making an exit. That's Inglewood Avenue there.
You go.
That's the off-ramp that I take so frequently there. 405 freeway northbound exiting. Actually, that's Hawthorne Boulevard there, just one south of the Inglewood off-ramp. So we'll see what happens here. A lot of these pursuits, they're able to run the plates if the vehicle isn't stolen and ascertain some important information. But because, as we're hearing, there's no rear license plate, and that's what initiated the CHP to light this individual up. He's abiding by all the laws. Look at this.
Yeah,
He's stopping there almost like he doesn't even know he's being pursued at this point. At the light there on the off-ramp at Hawthorne Boulevard there off the northbound side of the 405 freeway. We'll see what happens from here.
All right, as we're sitting and watching, as it appears he's waiting for traffic to go by. We see 1, 2, and then there was a third CHP officer who pulled in right behind those two there.
He's got his blinker on even. He's going to turn left.
Yep.
I did not see any high speed during the pursuit that we covered here. Let's see what happens. They may try something, but again, you just don't know. Obviously, the mindset of this driver and any driver that's running from officers here is not a good one. And we don't know if this individual is armed at this point, and they have to assume that they are armed. From our vantage point, it appears that there's nobody else in the vehicle. It looks like his right arm there is gesturing in some manner.
Looks like he's talking to the officer.
And it does look like those officers are trying to give him a command right now, and he's turning left or going straight through here. Let's see what happens, and they're just letting him go on his way. That's the 405 freeway overpass where he just exited there at Hawthorne Boulevard, and we'll see what direction he chooses to take at this point. There he is right there. Again, failure to yield in that yellow shirt. We believe just one occupant, a male driver, failing to pull over on the 10 freeway at 3:45 p.m. in the downtown area. The pursuit was on, and it made its way south rather quickly into the Carson area, picking up the 405 freeway northbound up through the South Bay curve. That's the curve of the bend of the North 405 that we call up towards the South Bay area. And it does look like that window, you can see that front passenger window is rolled down as well.
Yeah, so it looks like they're now stopped at another red light or a red light. The other one was just he was waiting for traffic to go by. This is one of those officers that seemed to be talking to him, and you could see that that passenger side window is down where they may have been communicating with one another. And now it looks like that pit maneuver may be tried.
It's possible because the speeds are down.
Right?
Very low. Here we go. We'll see what happens here. It looks like that SUV, CHP SUV unit, and again, the California Highway Patrol, the lead agency, because this pursuit was initiated on Interstate 10 here. They're just trying to keep up with him, bring this to a safe conclusion, watch out for any pedestrians, bicyclists, any people in their vehicles that could be in harm's way. This is on southbound Hawthorne Boulevard through Lawndale from the 405 freeway here. And we will enter a very busy area here. There's a lot of businesses here. We're coming up on the Galleria Mall here in North Redondo Beach. So we'll see what happens. But the bottom line is this individual being pursued, at least from what we've seen, Marla and Coco, abiding by all the traffic laws, didn't speed from what we saw, stopped at all the red lights, did not pick up speeds, or is not really driving that erratically, but just fails to pull over.
Right, exactly. And that's really, again, how this pursuit all started, is because the driver failed to pull over. But here, another traffic light appears to be abiding by the rules. It seems like a couple of CHP cruisers are still pursuing this driver. And really and truly, as we zoomed in earlier and you could see the driver, you could see that the driver appeared to be cool, calm, and collected, as almost as if he didn't know.
What's the problem?
Yeah,
what's going on here? Why are you guys lighting me up? And again, they lit him up because they are saying that there is no rear license plate on this vehicle, and that is what initiated the California Highway Patrol to initially conduct that traffic stop on the 10 freeway in downtown LA. We are now in the South Bay area, heading southbound on Hawthorne Boulevard. Can they try that pit maneuver, that pursuit intervention technique? Sure, at speeds roughly 35 miles an hour. And you could see with our extreme nav system always on it with Skyfox here, the speeds are up and down. But again, the driver stopping at the lights here, abiding by all the traffic laws that we've seen thus far, except not pulling over. Here they go. They're trying to box him in, making a right turn. Now we see some erratic driving here. Now he's trying to play a little cat and mouse here. But what they will try to do, if there is that opportunity, you have that boulevard, that island there on Hawthorne Boulevard. So you just have the southbound traffic, which we're focusing in on right now, and then the northbound traffic. If there is a way that they can nudge the back end of that vehicle, spin that vehicle out, disable it, they will try to do so. Other agencies have been called out on this now that we are in the Lawndale area. That would be the LA County Sheriff's Department, then into Torrance, the Torrance Police Department, the Redondo Beach Police Department, trying to box them in. And now this is a situation where this driver is getting more and more agitated. and we'll see what happens here at this point. Foot bail possible. He just took off his seatbelt. Now he's really driving erratically. A lot more traffic now. As I said, you got a big mall here coming up on Hawthorne Boulevard, the Galleria Mall, lots of car dealerships. There's a lot of furniture stores here. Ooh, reaching for something there. And again, they have to assume that this individual is armed at this point, and he's acting very erratically at this point, and this is going to pose a major danger. It already has to all those motorists. A lot of people are still out. Even though I call it holiday light, people aren't enjoying themselves. Maybe they have family and friends in town going out to dinner on this Wednesday evening. So they want to do their best now to try to bring this to a safe conclusion on Hawthorne Boulevard, heading southbound from the 405 into the heart of the South Bay.
All right, so we remain on Hawthorne Boulevard, and at least now 4 CHP officers in hot pursuit of this driver who just would not pull over. That was about 3:45 on the 10 freeway near downtown Los Angeles.
190th Street there.
Now he had exited most recently Hawthorne Boulevard, and that's where we find ourselves now in the Torrance area. And this cat and mouse and just that communication that we saw earlier, that was interesting as well. And it almost seemed like a missed opportunity. I know that public safety is first and foremost. And as this, look at this guy.
Possibility. You can see there's a wide open road. That's still Hawthorne Boulevard, just past 190th Street here into the South Bay. A lot of businesses, as I said here, lots of furniture stores, car dealerships. We have the Galleria Mall, a very busy Galleria Mall here, and we'll see what happens. But clearly now, this driver is agitated. We have seen him run a couple of red lights now, and he is clearly trying to evade officers here. The initial one, if you're just tuning in, started. This is at 3:45 p.m. on the 10 freeway in the downtown area. The CHP lit this individual up because there was allegedly no rear license plate on. He failed to yield, and the pursuit was on. And we got it covered for you always here on Fox 11.
And yeah, Rick, as you mentioned, this driver is really starting to drive more erratically, but you can see the officer doing everything that they can to make sure that they do not lose sight of this vehicle, especially as they get to a busier traffic area. We're starting to see more cars, and as you said, this driver is now running a few red lights. We could possibly see the driver decide to take a run for it at any point because the driver did take their seatbelt off here. And again, if you're just now tuning in, this all started in downtown Los Angeles because of a failure to yield from the driver. The officers believe that there was an issue or that they did not have a back driver's plate on the vehicle here. We're zooming in closer to the driver, and you can see that the driver is still appearing relaxed, but has been driving really erratically, right, Rick?
In Torrance, the heart of Torrance, that's right. Definitely we saw more agitation with this driver over the last several minutes once this pursuit did enter Hawthorne Boulevard in Torrance now. So the Torrance Police Department has been made aware of this pursuit. They will help out with the California Highway Patrol, but the CHP, the lead agency, because this pursuit started on Interstate 10, on the 10 freeway in downtown Los Angeles. You can see the speeds are picking up. Our Extreme Nav system on it, over 40 miles an hour. I don't see a good opportunity, at least at this point, because of the traffic here, unless they're trying to stop the traffic up ahead. Veering to the left there, getting away from traffic to throw out a spike strip. That's a challenging thing to do on a day like this where you see all those other vehicles. It endangers the officers and other individuals. Clearly now, trying to do whatever they can, as they were on the freeways as well, don't get me wrong, but now definitely high rates of speed, running through stop signs, driving erratically, recklessly, in and out of backed up traffic there.
Yeah, needled his way through that red light there just fine, no problems. Made it look easy, in fact. And I am really struck by the driver's demeanor. Looks to be a young male, one arm up, sort of cruising along, doesn't appear to be nervous or anxious, even driving agitated as well, trying to get through and around when things got a little dicey for him. Doesn't appear to have significant, there's no damage to the body of this vehicle, but we have pointed out that that rear back window appears to be broken out. We don't know how that happened. That may have happened prior to the pursuit beginning, as Coco just pointed out. This is all because of the lack of license plates on this particular vehicle, make and model. Still, we're working to figure that one out. But CHP here, tailing this driver in the heart of Torrance, as Rick pointed out, Hawthorne Boulevard, and it's been going on for almost an hour now, Rick.
Yeah, that's right. And now by Del Amo Mall, another very busy mall there on Hawthorne Boulevard. And they've been staying, this individual, I should say, has been staying clear of any other street except Hawthorne Boulevard, weaving their way on the right there. There's a red light, making a left turn against traffic. They're so dangerous. And pedestrians there in the crosswalk there, too. So every single traffic violation this individual will be lit up for as well. But the bottom line is this is getting more and more dangerous, staying southbound on Hawthorne Boulevard, which essentially would take this pursuit up towards the Palos Verdes Peninsula. We're still in Torrance at this time, just passing Del Amo Mall here, heading down towards Pacific Coast Highway. If they have any opportunity to pit this individual, the pursuit intervention technique, to spin this vehicle out, to bring it to an end, they will do it. I know the Torrance Police Department will be involved in this as well. They want this guy off the streets. They don't want those pedestrians that we just saw to be endangered. We don't want anybody, any innocent people driving on this holiday Wednesday evening as the sun starts to set here in Southern California being endangered. And we don't want officers either to be harmed in any way. CHP still lead there. You can see it there, Marla and Coco, southbound on Hawthorne Boulevard, heading down towards South Torrance, then into the Palos Verdes Peninsula, towards Lomita, Harbor City. We'll see what happens from here.
Yeah, Rick, as you mentioned, with those two pedestrians, it was almost a very close call there. So really the urgency is growing to really stop this driver. You can see that the CHP cruiser appeared to, pick up some speed there to try to make sure that they do not lose this driver and hopefully eventually stop this driver in any way possible, because you're getting into busier areas with more cars. We'll probably see more pedestrians as well. And it's going to be very important to stop this driver.
Especially as we consider the time of day. We're nearing sunset. Right. We know it gets dark very early. It's a good thing it's not raining. That makes it even dicier. But yes, that sun will set relatively soon. And